This is Bill Jones with recapturefederalism.com. Today's presentation is episode 3. Bill Jones from Freedom's Nest. Today's presentation concerns and is titled "The Democratic Action Establishes Communist Confession of Faith as State Religion." That's right, state religion. On my observational graph, I have communism and communist criminal class and the communist confession of faith over on the right side, lower right corner. And what has happened is the communists in the United States, within the democratic centralization, is imposing communist confession of faith on the American people. They in effect have established by their action a state religion of communist confession of faith. And it does in effect displaces the Judeo-Christian moral code. There is no God in the communist confession of faith. There is no morality. We have the Judeo-Christian moral code in the United States. And that moral code is our legal system. So if you replace it with something that has no morality and no basis for a legal system, you end up with a totalitarian system, which is oppressive, a tyrannical situation. The Communist Confession of Faith was produced by Frederick Engel in 1847. The following year, 1848, it would be incorporated in the Communist Manifesto, or Manifesto of the Communist Party, which is the technical title. Because Karl Marx didn't like the catechismal production and format that Engels had, both Engels and Marx were atheism. Their communist confession of faith is based upon the belief there is no such thing as God. And of course, the Holy Bible is where we get our moral code. And the legal system is based off that moral code. So the result, obviously, is there's no morality in that system. Now, the Communist Confession of Faith, there's 22 questions in there. It's interesting. Now I'm going to go to the last one, which is where it shows it replaces all other religions. But I have a couple of slides, and I'll describe it, since I also utilize strictly audio production also. You'll notice are you a communist? Yes, that's question 1. Question 3, it's interesting. How do you wish to achieve this aim, which is the aim of the communist? How do you wish to achieve this aim? I hope you're sitting when you listen to this. You know what their aim is? You know what the communist aim is? The answer is by the elimination of private property and its replacement by community of property. Interesting. Community of property, a commune. Elimination of private property. They're anti-capitalist, of course, and we all know that, don't we? So they eliminate property. And how do they propose to do that? Of course, people might resist, so they got to get rid of the guns. guns themselves are private property. And so all this gun control is, in effect, religious persecution. It is the aim of the communist to take the guns away from the bourgeois, and I'll show you sometime later in their guidelines. It's okay for the poor and the lower class and the working class, it's okay for them to be armed. They encourage that. And of course, sometimes that's some of those people under our system are not allowed to have firearms because they have got police records and are criminals. That's why that's why I put the criminal class in there along with the communist class. It all works hand in hand. Then as we progress on, there's another question. Question 4, how do you base your community of property? And they go all through that. Firstly, on the mass of productive forces, a means of subsistence resulting from the development of industry, agriculture, trade, colonization, and on the possibility inherent in machinery, chemical, and other resources of their infinite extension. Notice the word right in there, subsistence. They talk about it all the time in their documentation, subsistence. Minimum wage is a subsistence wage. You hear about them all the time, inequity, subsistence. What they want to do is everybody on the same wage scale, subsistence, lower down, not to pull the working class up to advantages and having more private property. Oh no, we don't want private property for those people. So we want to take the private property away from the middle class, and it all is to be controlled. They won't say this, but there's another class that's in there, the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, and they talk about those all the time. They want them fighting all the time. Then there's the leadership. They don't talk about it too much. The leadership of the party. Oh, and they're the ones that get rich. Them and their friends and their crony friends, corporate cronyism. Just like over in China, you know, the top 12 billionaires in China, 10 of them are party officials, and a couple are business tycoons, you know. They all work together. Then we go to the end. We go to 21 and 22 questions, the last two questions. And then interesting, let's go to 22. Do communists reject existing religions? And understand, this is going back all the way to 1847 when he wrote this. It's been around a long time. It hasn't gone away. Communism is bigger now than it's ever been, world communism. Do communists reject existing religions? Thousands of years. Judaism's been around. Christianity's been around a couple thousand years. Now all of a sudden, here come the communists. They're going to replace that. They're anti-Semitic, anti-Christian. And my Jewish friends, let me repeat that. They're anti-Semitic. So the Jewish lobby, you're helping somebody that's anti-Semitic. And they're anti-Christian. So when they talk about separation of church and state, oh, that's just some of the propaganda, because really they're opposed to all peaceful religions. All of them. And the answer they have down here, all religions which have existed hitherto were expressions of historical stages of development of individual peoples or groups of peoples. But communism is that stage of historical development which makes all existing religions superfluous and supersedes them. Goodbye, Judaism. Goodbye, Christianity. Here come the commies, the commune state. Quick question 21, and I'll just touch on that. Will nationalities continue to exist under communism? You know that border we got on the south there? You know that border there? You know, there's no security down there. They bring people up, cross, and they don't want to call them illegal aliens anymore. They call them migrants and that. Listen to this answer. Because when you hear them talking about no boundaries anymore, these people down in Central America, just come on up. Here's the answer. This is what it's all about. And this is what I'm talking about, their actions, their words. The answer. Nationalities of the peoples who join together according to the principle of community will be just as much compelled by this union to merge with one another and thereby supersede themselves as various differences between the states and classes disappear through the superseding of their basis, private property. Ho, ho, ho. Bring them up here, give them subsistence. Yes, that's what it's all about. Religious persecution, religious persecution, religious persecution. That's who you're dealing with, commie and state. And we'll continue into more presentations as we go along, and we'll cover in detail all of these issues and the many, many, many more that's part in the communist documentation, in the Bible, and in our founding fathers in their documentation also.